Hello all, Namaskar, welcome you back to this session. Basically, let me tell you first something and then we will discuss. Basically, you must be knowing this is, I have named it as Philosophy Masterclass because herein we will be discussing all the topics which are, all the things which are a common doubt among all the philosophy aspirants, and I wanted to address it so that it can benefit the larger community. Hope I am audible. Okay. So basically, the thing is that, as you must be knowing, in fact, I am giving mains this year, but as an attempt to reach out to all the philosophy aspirants who are giving mains this year, I am talking with them verbally with a lot of people. So at least I talk 3 to 4 people minimum every day. And basically, what I feel that everyone has the same set of doubt. And in fact, I go on repeating. For each call goes for more than 1 hour mostly. So every day I am spending 3 to 4 hours talking about the same things. So that's why I thought, why not record it so that it can help even a larger mass of the philosophy aspirants for the later generations to come also, and so that we can reach out to maximum number of people. So basically, herein I have compiled all the common doubts that I have seen among all the philosophy aspirants. So let us start them without waiting a lot, and let us all please do tell me if you have any other doubt at the end of the session, because I will discuss whatever compilations of doubt I have, and after that we will have it. And in fact, I would like to say, I feel most of your doubts regarding philosophy and the way answers should be written will be completed by the end of this video. So number one thing, the first thing that we see is that, sir, how do we introduce a topic? How do the number one question, how do we introduce a topic, and later we'll see how do we conclude a topic. So for example, if you got a question on philosophy, for example, like what is theory of form and matter? This is a very direct question, but let us take a direct question. If you get a question on philosophy that what do you mean by theory of form and matter, so how do you introduce it? So see, basically many times what we see that we have a tendency that we try to build the context, we try to build the background. माहौल बनाने में ही समय चला जाता है. तो what we write, so theory of form and matter, or like theory of ideas of Plato. You say that Plato was a great Greek philosopher who had influence on all the philosophers, and you start writing the introduction like that. But don't do that, because for 10 marker questions, especially don't do that for 10 marker questions, because for 10 marker questions you get only 2 pages, and if you will use around 1/4 of the page, or something 1/4 or half of the page for introducing or building the background of the topic, then you will be not able to address the demand of the question properly. And basically this is not a philosophy BA exam, rather it is a exam for civil services, and that's why they are giving you very less page. They are not asking you to write in 5-6 pages. So here we have to try to be on the topic. So how should we introduce a topic? So for example, if this question is given that what is the theory of form and matter, and again I must tell you, this is what I think and what it had worked for me. There are many other toppers, many other institutes who might be saying things which are contrary to this, but this is what this is something what I feel that it has helped me, and I have got the marks by following all those things. That's why I am sharing this knowledge with you. Okay. So what is the standard introduction that you can write for this thing? Like, what is the theory of form and matter? So here the first thing is that while writing introduction, try to make it heavy. What heavy? Heavy means use a number of terms. That means in the introduction itself there would be a lot of things that would be covered, and it would be like the examiner will be very happy that you have almost covered a lot of things in the introduction. So here in the theory of form and matter, you can write that theory of form and matter was propounded by the Greek philosopher Aristotle, in which he says that theory and form are the ultimate eternal substances. So here you see what all we have included. So here you have told about what is theory of form and matter, you have told who has propounded it, and you have told that what does the theory of form and matter say? It says that they both are ultimate substances. So here in this way you can write. So we have made the introduction very very crisp, condensed, but very heavy. So while writing this, if you write this introduction, and it is also relevant to the introduction, because if you would have started here that Aristotle was a Greek philosopher who knew a lot of things, or a great mathematician, or a great scientist, it is not relevant to the question of the question that is asked to you. So while writing the introduction, make a point that it is relevant to the question. So the number of things that you must take care while writing philosophy question introduction is that you may make it very heavy. Heavy means include a lot of terms and who has introduced it. You can use the name of the philosopher, the basic concept that we discussed right now, and it must have relevance to the question. It should not be like they are asking you Shanikvad and you are defining what is the that Arth Kriyavad. So it must be relevant to the question, and we must use the number of terms that is possible. So this is very standard way of introducing a topic, and it will help you a lot. The other way is that you can directly define the term. Like if it is asked the Shrenikvad, you can directly define the term, and that is also one way. So I will, in both these ways, you can write introduction, and the third way is miscellaneous. The miscellaneous is something that you will write on the point, on the exam sheet only. You cannot think of it now, and it will occur automatically. So basically, you can try them for all those questions, which might be a bouncer for you. But rest of the things, please try to make the introduction very a bit heavy, which has a lot of philosophical terms. Which if you can include the name of the philosopher. For example, if you can also use the term of books. For example, if I'm not wrong, if I'm able to recollect properly, this Benedict Spinoza's book was Ethica. So you can write about, if it is asked about substance of Spinoza, you can write that Benedict Spinoza, this philosopher, in his book Ethica, has introduced substance as this thing. So here you are making the answer more objective and analytic. If you remember, if you don't, then also it is fine, but make the introduction very relevant to the topic of the question, and as condensed, as precise and as concise, and it must be very heavy as much as possible, and it is very relevant to the question. So this is number one. Now the question is, how do we write conclusion? Okay, we will come to body later. So how do we write conclusion? So this is something very important, because at the end, after seeing your conclusion, the examiner will give you marks. So if it is possible, make the conclusion, we can make the conclusion very good, and in fact a thought-provoking one. So I am discussing, there are some 5-6 types of conclusion that you can write. I am discussing them. The number one way is you can link with the next philosopher. Like for example, if the very simple question is asked about Descartes, for example, like the standard Cartesian dualism, if it is asked, it is a very standard question. So while you, like for example, they will ask you, please tell what is Cartesian dualism. So if the question is very direct, you can directly in the conclusion link it with Spinoza. Because you can say that later on Spinoza, by his concept of substance and by propounding pantheism, he is trying to fulfill all the gaps that were there in the Descartes philosophy. So this is one way of conclusion, where you are logically connecting with the next philosopher. Because remember, this is mostly applicable in Western philosophy, because the Western philosophy follows a logic. One after another, they are going. Okay, so this is one way. Number two is that link it with logical culmination. What is logical culmination? For example, if you will see, like for example, like what you say, if a question is given on, for example, Pratitya Samutpad, you can at the end conclude it with, if you are not able to write all those things, but you can conclude the what all logical culmination has come from Pratitya Samutpad. It is Shanikvad, Arthakriya Karitva, and Arthakriyavad, Sanghatvad, Santanvad. Everything has come from Pratitya Samutpad. So this is something like logical culmination. In fact, in a lot of questions you will get, if it is asked about Jiva at the end, but you can, while concluding, in fact before conclusion also you can write, but if the question is directly on the Jiva or the ego or something, then you can conclude it with the concept of liberation. Because this is a direct linkage with the next part of the Jiva. Because Jiva will at the end will get liberation, and you can conclude with that also. But it will depend on the question, and you will get to know, because once you are very clear about the philosophy and its terms, you will be able to do justice with that. Next is the link with common ideology. This is another type of conclusion writing. For example, common ideology. What is common ideology? Let me say, for example, if you get a question on what you say, like for example, if you get a question like it may be what you say, like the Ramanuja or something, where they are propounding dualism in Dvaitvad, where they are propounding dualism. But you know that each school, when it is dualistic, it is not a consistent school, because at the end you have to reach to that one single ultimate being. Because if there are two beings which are ultimate, then they will limit each other. So that is there. So if you are getting something, in lot of questions you can write about, you can end it with what you say, Sankaracharya. For example, if you get a question on faith, you will be able to end it with Wittgenstein or Immanuel Kant, because Wittgenstein says the language game theory, and Immanuel Kant also says that in the what you say, I make room for faith, so for devotion, so all these things. So this is something like, it is a common ideology. For example, it is the what you say, for each question which are like debatable question which you cannot resolve. you can conclude with these philosophers. Like for example, if it is asked for paper 2 as well, like faith or this thing or that thing. So there is nothing in which you can justify God. For example, if the question is directly, does God exist? And at the end you cannot write, because I have never seen God, you have never seen God. So we cannot write whether God exists empirically or not. But what you can write, at the end you can write that the questions and all the things about God can only be resolved in the realms of faith. And Immanuel Kant has said in this aspect that I find this the standard dialogue, that I make room for this thing and that thing. So this is one way of conclusion. Then there is another way of conclusion, that is what I said, the logical culmination part. There is another example that I will try to bring. For example, the concept is of Sankhya. Okay, for example, it is of Sankhya philosophy. And Sankhya philosophy, you know that due to dualism, they are inconsistent. Due to this uncompromising dualism, this word is very important, uncompromising dualism. So Purusha and Prakriti. But you can write at the conclusion you can write for depending on the question type, that the gaps that were there in the Sankhya philosophy due to uncompromising dualism by fulfilled by Shankaracharya at the later concept in the Advaitvad, wherein he made Purusha the ultimate Brahman and Prakriti the Maya, and propounded the theory of Mayavad. So this is something, because the gaps of Sankhya, because I have already told you in an earlier video also, Shankaracharya never considered Mimamsa, which was its earlier predecessor, Mimamsa, the philosophy, as its chief opponent. He always said, my chief opponent is Sankhya. He said, Pradhan Malla, use the word. So you must be knowing that Sankhya was made consistent by Shankaracharya, by some minor modifications. So you can write them at the conclusion itself, because it was Shankaracharya who made it very consistent. So this is also one way of writing it. Okay. Then there is another, is that what is the current relevance? Okay. So what is the current relevance? This is another way of concluding what is the current relevance. For example, if the question is on Sadvad, if the question that Sadvad, what does Sadvad says? It teaches us to be tolerant. It is the manyness of knowledge, or the relativity of knowledge. This thing is there. So in the relativity of knowledge, it says that my viewpoint is not the only correct viewpoint, rather your viewpoint can also be correct. So it teaches us to be tolerant. And when Sadvad is teaching us to be tolerant, you can conclude, if the question is directly on Sadvad, you can conclude that though Sadvad is an ancient doctrine proposed in Jainism, yet it has current relevance in the terms where the world is mired with intolerance, extremism and fundamentalism. You are linking it with the current relevance. So this is also one way of concluding. If you will feel, you will find a lot of things for other philosophy also, but you have to think about it. You have to delve deep into it. Okay. Then there is another thing what you can do. There is another way of concluding. It is the importance. Okay. What is the importance? Like for example, if the question is on Nyaya. Nyaya Vaisesika. What does Nyaya Vaisesika say? Nyaya Vaisesika is Tark Shastra. Okay. So what does it say? It teaches us logic. The importance of Nyaya Vaisesika is that it teaches us to be scientific in our approach. It teaches us that we should check the validity of our knowledge. We have to see what are our sources of knowledge. So when you are writing a question on Nyaya Vaisesika, and if it is a very direct, simple question, you can conclude it that Nyaya Vaisesika, although ancient, it teaches the man to be logical in his approach and to justify the sources of knowledge that a man must rely on to gain knowledge. It teaches us to be scientific in our approach. And in fact, if you will see, you can link it with the fundamental duties. Because one of our fundamental duties is to develop scientific temperament. So this is something that is the importance part. Then there is another way in which you can conclude, that is the scientific interpretation. What is the scientific interpretation? For example, if you will know that this thing like Antahakarana Sankhya, the Buddhi, mind and all those things, you will see that the modern day psychology also believes in similar terms. And there are standard write-ups in the books wherein you will find the linkages with the modern day psychology. Please use those terms while concluding. So these are some ways of conclusion. In fact, there would be much more ways of conclusion, but that you have to delve deep upon. See, the basic thing that I will say, that another approach is that for example, for any philosophy as such, okay, like for Charvak. For Charvak, you can conclude it by saying that it brought diversity in the opinion, diversity in the Indian philosophy. How? By providing counterpoints to the rising asceticism. It viewed the world in the lenses of materialism, while the whole Indian philosophy was looking at it in the terms of spiritualism. Everyone was turning ascetic. Charvak said, no dear, stop here. If you all will go to sannyas, then who will be there in this world? So you can say that Charvak philosophy has enriched the Indian philosophy by providing a diversity of opinion. So this is something you can do. But please remember, while writing any conclusion, you must see, are you adding some value to it? Or just you are writing this thing, that for every philosophy you can write that it is adding diversity to Indian philosophy, because Nyaya is adding, Vaisesika is adding, Mimamsa is adding, Sankhya is adding, Yoga is adding, Buddhism, Jainism, everyone is adding. But so here comes the term of value addition. Please say, how did Charvak help in diversifying the Indian philosophy? Here you can say it diversified the Indian philosophy by its enhanced focus on materialism so as to counter the rising tide of spiritualism or the hedonism, all these things. So this is also another way of conclusion. Okay. So these are some similar ways of conclusion. But my dear, whenever you are writing conclusion, the whole thing is that you must look into the aspects of value addition. Your conclusion should not be like that you are just adding because one liner is fine, everything added value. No, you have to be very objective. You can tell, you can give it by spoon that, see examiner, I am telling you that it enhanced by this way. And if you will take care of this minor details, then you will get good marks. See, introduction and conclusions are some things of the paper which will not fetch you extra marks. But if you don't write them properly, or if you don't write them, the marks will be deducted. So this is something, that's why it is very important that if you are writing introduction and conclusion, do it very beautiful. And always I say, please remember, my dear, always I say that the piece of paper that is given to you when you are sitting in the UPSC mains examination in the exam hall, there will be around all the people around you, and you have a paper, you have a QCAB, that they say, the question and come answer booklet, and there are some blank pages in which you fill your heart out by the pen and paper, by the pen. So when you are looking into those blank spaces where you have to write your answers, don't see them as a liability. Don't see them as a, like a piece of paper that I have to fill. See them as an opportunity. And what you have to think, that every word that you must write, that you are writing on this answer sheet, must add some value. If those words that you are writing is not adding to the value, then it is worthless. You are losing out an opportunity. And while you are practicing the test series also, please think that every word that I am writing, is it adding some value to my answers, or it is just redundant? If you will feel this approach, you will write very good answers in both UPSC, GS and optional and essay as well. So this is something that you must take care of. Okay. I feel you are clear with it. Now what I am trying to say. In fact, there will be many more approaches that you yourself can discover. I am just recollecting and trying to tell you what I do, because there are a lot of things that I do in the examination hall that I cannot remember as such now. Okay. So now there is something that many people say, sir, I feel problem while memory or recollecting. There are a number of philosophical terms, there are a number of theories. I am not able to remember them properly. I am not able to recall them properly at the proper point of time. Okay, just a minute. So we have a solution for that. And this has worked phenomenally for me. The only solution is brainstorming. Now the question comes, how do you brainstorm? Because see, for example, in 2021 UPSC, a question came that shocked everyone writing the philosophy paper. Maybe one or two would be exceptions. The Pudgal Nairatma and the Dharm Nairatmavad. But if you don't remember that what is Nairatmavad, you will not be able to write the answer in Pudgal and Dharm Nairatmavad. So for basically writing any answer, you must be able to know the concept. And you will know those concepts only when you internalize the topics. And internalizing the topics will only help you to remember and recollect your knowledge. So how do you do brainstorming? Okay, I'll just make you see that how do I myself do brainstorming. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so are you able to see? See, this is the way, this is a GS brainstorming that I did. But you can see that there are a number of color pens that I've used, the blue, black and red. So I'll tell you, how do you do that? Okay, how do you do that? So number one thing, let us do Charvak brainstorming, and I will do it with you, and I am telling you that I will finish whole of the Charvak in 5 minutes. Please take a pen and paper and just think what all things are coming to your mind. See, I will discuss Charvak with you. What is Charvak philosophy? You can say the number one thing. Mark the time. We will finish it in 5 minutes. Okay. Charvak philosophy. There are three aspects of it. One, the epistemology. Second is metaphysics. Third is ethical. What is epistemology? Epistemology is source of knowledge. Now we will see what does the Charvak believes in source of knowledge. So first thing is pratyaksham evam ekam pramanam. They believe that perception is the only knowledge, and they believe that it is the only source of knowledge. And next we will come to inference, and the inference they see that there is a term called vyapti. Vyapti is the universal concomitance. They refute Vyapti. By what means? They see that can pratyaks be used to justify Vyapti? No, they say because it is again, it would be the theory of illicit generalization. Then again, can Vyapti be justified by inference? No, because it will lead to petitum principle, circular fallacy. Can Vyapti be proved by Upaman comparison? No, they say because it is a form of perception and inference. Can Vyapti be proved by Sabda? No, it cannot be proved because Sabda is the work by cunning priest. And in fact, if you are believing on the priest, you are again refuting the inference. So in this way, they are refuting inference. Are they, then again, the epistemology, we have refuted too, perception and inference. Now the third thing, the Sabda, they are refuting it again, the same arguments that we used to refute Vyapti by Sab and the Upaman, they also refute by same. Now we have completed Charvak's epistemology. Is there anything that I left? Almost nothing. Okay. Now we will go to metaphysics. What is metaphysics? Remember, my dear, whenever you are writing about metaphysics, any metaphysics that is asking, please think in three terms: God, world, and soul. If you will remember these three terms, when the word metaphysics comes, you will answer the question very holistically. Else, you will forget one or two terms. Okay. So, God, world, and soul. What is God, world, and soul? Now, there comes the metaphysics. The whole of the metaphysics is Charvak is derived from its epistemology. Pratyakshamevam ekam pramanam. Perception is the only praman. So, will they believe in God? No, they will not believe in God. Why? Because God cannot be seen, God cannot be perceived, God cannot be, it is only possible by inference. They are refuting God. Next, the world. Do they believe in the teleology of the world? No, they don't believe. So, how is the world formed? Yadrachavad, Swabhavad. So, what is Yadrachavad? That is the accidentalism and the Swabhavad. Here comes the two things. So, Yadrachavad and Swabhavad. This is the world. In fact, it is the soul theory. Okay, we'll come to that. Will they believe in Akash, the ether? No, they don't believe because it cannot be seen. They only believe in four Mahabhutas. So, will they believe in heaven? They will not believe because it cannot be seen. They will not believe in the moksha. They will not believe in dharma. They are refuting almost everything. They will not believe in theory of karma and adrast. Now, will they believe in soul? They will not believe in soul. Why? Because why they will not believe? They will not believe the soul because it cannot be seen. It cannot be perceived. They will not believe in an eternal soul that is capable of migration, transmigration. So what they will say? That it is Bhut Chaitanyavad and Dehatmavad. How it is formed? But just because there are two examples, the bile juice and the Pugiphala Samayuktam, that is the betel leaf. You must be knowing, because if you are reading philosophy, you must be knowing all these things. So here we have completed their metaphysics. Now the third thing that comes, ethics. You will be knowing the hedonism is the only word, and they saved the Indian philosophy from dogmatism. We have completed the whole of the Charvak in less than 5 minutes. So this is something that you must do. How you will do it, that's what I am telling. Just as I saw the copy of mine doing brainstorming, please write the word Charvak. Please write what is there in the epistemology, what is there. Just point. Don't write in sentences. Just write points. Charvak, pratyaks, fine. Accept. Inference, no. Why? Vyapti, not true. Okay. By pratyaks, no. By inference, no. By pratyaks, illicit generalization. By inference, petro principle. By sab, no, cunning priest. By upman, perception and inference, khatam. Then sab, no, not proof. Then upman, not proof. Just write those points. Metaphysics, okay. World, okay. Four bhutas. Ananta, what is it? The chatushte, bhut chatushte. Okay. So bhut chatushte. Akash, don't believe. Dharma, don't believe. Moksha, don't believe. Adrash, don't believe. Heaven, don't believe. Soul, don't believe. God, don't believe. Over. Then take Then take ethics, and then write. Okay, this thing. So that's fine. You are done with Charvak. And now take your note. Please see what all things you have missed. Write them down in a different color pen, just like I saw you. For example, if you are writing the names, then whatever you have forgotten, write by other color pens. And if you have forgotten 4 names, 4 to 5 terms this time, in the next time you will forget only 1 to 2 terms. In the next time you will not forget a single bit. You can do that for every topic, and you will see how the things are getting internalized. Because when you are reading the notes for 5 to 10 days or something, then it is then it is passive learning. It is not active learning. Okay. So for active learning, what is needed? Yes, Amanji, I can see your name. So what for active learning, what is needed? You must reproduce what you have learned. If you are not able to bring out what you have learned, then the knowledge is of no use. So this is something that is very important. When you are writing it out, you are bringing out the terms, because you have to do that in the examination hall. Reading here and remembering is not fine. You have to go beyond that. इस बार हमने ठाना है philosophy में कुछ कर दिखाना है. So that's why it is very important. Please take a pen and paper and write, scribble, scribble, scribble. And then after that, you will do phenomenal job. And if you are remembering, see, for example, if the Buddhism comes and if you are remembering Arthkriyavad, Nairatmyavad, this thing, that thing, then if the term comes Pudgal Nairatma and Dharma Nairatma, you will be able to write something. And that will be very helpful. Can we quote contemporary Swamis? I'll come to it. Okay, I'll come to it. So this is something that I wanted. So the more brainstorming you will do, the more luckier you will become, and the more ability of recollection and memory will be there. Because what you will be struggling now, if you don't do brainstorming, you will be struggling in the paper itself. So the more you sweat in this thing, the more you sweat in the practice, the less you will bleed in the battlefield. And in fact, I do it for GS. The notebook I made you see, this is the GS one. I don't do it for only philosophy and all those things. I do it for here. Okay. So this is something. Now we have discussed that. So please see, if you have any other doubt, please tell me at the end of the session. We will take it. Okay. Now the other questions that we have, like just a minute. Sanskrit terms. Is it necessary to use Sanskrit terms, and why? The number one thing that I say in your answers, I am folding my hands. Okay, sir, brainstorming after how many days of studying the topic? Bhai, Ludwig ji, Wittgenstein ji, you have such a beautiful name. Please do it now. After you have studied the topic, please try to recall whatever you remember now. After 3 to 4 days, again do it. It will take only 5 to 10 minutes, not more than that. Just remember whatever it is coming to your mind. Just put it out. And then go to your notes and check. Then check whether what all I have missed, and write it with a different color pen. After 4 days, take a new fresh sheet of paper and write. You will see that you will be missing only 1 or 2 things. Then after 4 days again do, you will see you are missing none. And this is called internalization. Once the things are internalized with you, you will not miss anything. And no matter what type of question is given, you will be able to write a very beautiful answer. And because your mind will run like a horse. Okay, that is fine. Yes. Okay, that is fine. Whenever you are alone, you can do brainstorming. In fact, I used to do mental answer writing, what they say, many say. Because when I am traveling by my Dundubi, you must be knowing the cycle. I think a lot. I think all these questions, like for example, for any topic, and you can do, while you reach to your home, you are done with 1 or 2 topics. Okay. So this is something. Now the term of Sanskrit. Let us be very specific. Don't compromise. What is the relevance of using Sanskrit terms and all those things in the answer? Again, I am doing this with a folding hand. Don't compromise with the usage of Sanskrit terms. Okay. Okay. Sometimes we know the concept, but question. Okay. We will take it. All the queries that you have, we will take it at the end, which are different from this. We will take it at the end of the session. Okay. No issues with that. Let us discuss what we are discussing, because it will divide the flow. If you have any questions regarding this, you can write. Okay. So Sanskrit terms. Don't compromise with the Sanskrit terms, because this is very important. For example, let me assume my name is Akash. If someone will call me sky, what I will do? I will feel very irritated. If your name is मान लीजिए Alok, if someone will call you light, you might slap him. How dare you are calling me light? But the meaning is same. So you are calling Alok. Is that fine? No, it is not fine. Every term is special. Okay, whatever the translations are there in English, they are not very optimum, because there are some terms in Hindi or Sanskrit which cannot be translated in English. So for example, so that's why don't compromise on Sanskrit terms. Wherever you are using Syadvad, use it. Wherever you are using Kshanikvad, use it. Don't only write the theory of momentariness. Please write Kshanikvad in the bracket theory of momentariness. Don't just stop here that, okay, relativity of knowledge is Syadvad, manyness of reality is Anikantvad. Don't write only this English words. Please write the terms. It is very special. In fact, when you are writing it is eternal, please write Nitya around it in the bracket. Okay, and it is not only for Indian concept. Just a minute. Indian concept, you can use it for Western also. Like for example, there are sometimes like Dasein. There are sometimes like idea of good, monas monadam, natura naturata, natura naturans. Don't compromise on all the terms, because the terms will give you mark. Let me tell you why these things are matter. Okay, if you will understand the concept, you will be able to do that. Okay, the number one thing, for example, I am an examiner and I have got around 20 to 30 copies a day, and each copy has 50 pages. Do you think it is possible as a mortal, as a human, to read each and every word? Not possible. No matter how do you try, how much do you try. Okay, the first paper will be evaluated very thoroughly. If your paper is towards the end or middle, they will just see whether you have written the terms or not. And if you have underlined it, And while they are looking, they will see that if you have written the terms and all, they will give you marks and they will give you more than average marks. If they are not able to find the terms and you are writing everything in English, then there are chances that your marks might be compromised. So this is something I am telling about Sanskrit terms. I am not telling about Shloka. The terms is different. Like for example, the Sankhya Karika of Ishwar Krishna, which says about the causation. So here don't hesitate to write Upadan Grahanat, Saktasya Sakta Karanat, Sarva Sambhav Bhavat, all those things. So please write the Sanskrit terms. They are very important. If you are not able to remember them, please make a song out of it and please remember. Like for example, many times I try to remember it in the terms of phonetics, like the Sarva Karana Bhavat, Upadana Grahanat, something like that, in the types of Vedic chanting, because I like it. You might have something like Upadana Grahanat, Karana Bhavat, something like that. So this exam is not only about doing all those boring and rutting things. You have to be very smart. Put it in the paper. Kaho na pyar hai type you can sing. Upadan Grahanat, something like that. That's fine. It will work for you. The Dwadas Nidan in Buddhism, you can remember it like that. Okay. So don't compromise on that. Many form mnemonics. But at the end, in the mnemonics, it is fine. But even the way you cannot remember, then it is very pathetic. Okay. So this is something that is there. Now the term is Shloka. Can we write? Okay. All the questions that you are telling, I'll check it at the end if they are not relevant here. Okay. Regarding phonetics, if someone says this is relevant to now because we are talking about Sanskrit terms and shlokas. Yes, for phonetics, if you are trying to do, please do. But I will not say don't invest a lot of time because they will not bring a lot of change in the marks. Like for example, if you are like that Akash and if in the before the A, if you are putting this bar, it is fine. If you write only Akash also, then it is fine. It will not lead to very big change in the marks. If you have time and you are feeling good, please do. Else, if you are feeling that it is burdening you and you are losing out on a lot of topics, then I will say it is fine. Because I also tried in the last attempt. But what I did the exam only because due to the whole of the pressure, I did not do that and I wrote in the normal thing. And it is fine, yeah. What, man? That guy is also understanding. We are not by Sanskrit scholars. We are just some civil servants. We are doing all those things. Okay. So that's fine. Now the thing is that, like someone has asked that, sir, should we put thinkers and all those things in the paper too? Okay. So this is something I'll tell you a very beautiful analogy. If you are able to understand this analogy, you will write good answers in paper 2. Because I'll say what is the thing. The thing is that in paper 2 there are a lot of philosophers in socio-political part. And the questions are very generic, like the women empowerment, like the crime punishment, like the genocide and all these things. And if you and for that, what you see that, arey sir, if you will not write the thinkers and all those things, if you will not write the thinkers and all those things, sir, can we get marks and all those things? So what did you remember 4 or 5 thinkers of each topic? And just because you have remembered, you try to go and put them in your answers in paper 2. Mostly it is difficult. It is there in paper 2. Because the thing is that in paper 1 you are already occupied with lot of things. In paper 2 you feel that it's open playground. Let me play whatever is possible. So just because you have remembered all those things and you are putting them all those things in the paper. Here comes the beautiful analogy. If you are able to understand this thing that I am going to tell you now, you will not face this issue. For example, let us assume that you like cricket a lot, okay? And you are an expert in cricket. I am a beginner in cricket and I am just learning cricket, okay? Now you have asked me a very simple question, Mr. Durga, please tell me how many balls are there in an over? The answer is very straightforward, 6. But just because I don't know cricket and I am learning it now, just like we philosophy guys, we are learning everything new nowadays and we feel that, oh, we are like the beautiful, we are greater than the Vedic seeds. So we think, okay, and now you are learning cricket, you remember some terms like Sachin Tendulkar is there, Muthiah Muralitharan, Zahir Khan is there, Adam Gilchrist and all those things, you will remember the terms. So now for the simple question that, Mr. Adhikary, can you tell me how many balls are there in an over? And just because I have remembered all those things and I want to appear very scholarly, I will say, Mr. Examiner, how many balls is that? I will tell. Sir, in an over, what happens? The bowlers, for example, like Muthiah Muralitharan and Zahir Khan, they put the ball which is batted by the most prominent batsmen like Sachin Tendulkar and Adam Gilchrist, and they go on to hit centuries and they make runs and all these things. The question was very simple. How many balls are there in an over? You are an expert. You don't expect all these names, that Adam Gilchrist, all those things. I gave this name to you because I think that by writing them, I am impressing you. But if you are an expert in cricket, you will feel very irritated. Guy, I am just asking you what is the, how many balls are there in the over. The same happens with the paper 2. In paper 2, the people who are evaluating over there, they are very, very, very mature. If the things are coming very organically, you must place them. If you are not placing them, it is a blunder. If the philosopher's name is coming very organically, you must place them. If you are not doing it, it is blunder. But if they are not coming organically and you are just placing it just because you remember them, it is again a blunder. Okay, for example, if I will ask you what are the highlights of India's World Cup win, here you can take the terms. Sir, Kapil Dev was there, sir, this field was there, that field was there. Here you can use the name of scholars. But when the question is that how many balls are there in an over, then there is no need of taking the scholar's name, taking the batsman or bowler's name. Okay, so you must, if you are doing a lot of previous questions and you are very adept with the philosophical terms, you will know that no matter if you have remembered around 14 to 15 scholars for each topic of equality, liberty, but if they are not coming organically in your answers, please don't fit them mechanically. If you are fitting them mechanically, you are doing a blunder for yourself. For example, let me say you, like the concept of justice. And Amartya Sen and John Rawls are there. Now the question I will ask you is, how is justice related with religion? And you must be knowing Amartya Sen and John Rawls have mostly said it in the terms of economics. Just because you remember the name, you will put here, justice is with religion is as per Amartya Sen said that the economical means must be produced. Arey bhai, it is not linked with the answer. If you just want to link it again, at the end, if you are very much that I have to put the name of Amartya Sen in this answer because justice is given, at the worst case, what you can do, you can try to draw an analogy. You can say that just as Amartya Sen says that that all the means must be available so that the human being can achieve its highest potential that it is capable of. In similar way, religion must also act as a pillar which will enable a person to achieve its highest capability. If you are very hell-bent upon introducing the name of Amartya Sen, but if they're not coming logically, no matter if you have remembered 14, 15 or 20 philosophers' name, don't put them. It is very bad. But if they are coming logically, if you are not putting them, for example, I am asking only justice. If you are not putting Amartya Sen or Rawls, it is not good because everyone of your competitor will put. So that's what I wanted to say. If they are coming organically, please put. If they are not coming organically, don't put. And if they are coming organically and you are not putting, it is a blunder. If they are not coming and you are putting, it is again a blunder. I feel I have made it very clear. Okay, so that's it. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. That is that. Now the again question comes that, sir, should we write in point or paragraph? Just a minute. Okay. See, philosophy is mostly descriptive. The paper one is, I don't feel there is a lot of things which you can write in point except if you are enlisting them. For example, if you are writing the characteristics of Brahman, there you can put the points. But if the question is mostly of analytical, I don't expect that you should write it in points, because at the end the professors who would be checking your copies, they would have read the books from the beautiful authors who don't write in points, they write in paragraphs, because philosophy is more descriptive. So that's why if there are points, like for example, like if you have to tell the proofs of Satkaryavad or Asatkaryavad, you have to put it in points. But if you are writing a analysis and critical analysis, then don't artificially put them. Okay. Don't artificially put them. That is the point. And for example, in paper 2, you have a lot of scope for putting them in, putting them in points. In paper 2, you can put in mostly in socio-political and all those things. But in paper 1, don't try to put everything in point. The another issue with paper point is that it makes the answer very mechanical. Okay. If you are writing in paragraph, it will be linkage and all those things. But if you write in points and criticisms, you will write one criticism and you will write the another extreme criticism in the next point. And there the flow break will happen. So in paper 1, I don't advise you to write in point form unless it is necessitated by the question. And in paper 2, you can write it as per your own means. In fact, I wrote both the papers in mostly paragraph form. Wherever it was required, I just used the point. And it is your own discretion. Now someone is asked, I was coming to that. So if the answers become GS type, so how do we make it philosophical? In paper 2 mostly. If you will not write the names of the philosophers and all those things, it makes the answer very GS and not philosophical. See, again I am telling you, if the thinkers are coming very organically, please put them. It will make the answer very philosophical and it is necessary. But if they are not coming, then don't put. And how do we make the answer philosophical? The way to make the answer philosophical is that the question of why. I've said it already in the video before that if you are writing the question of, let me tell you what exactly is philosophy. Philosophy means love for wisdom. And when wisdom comes only when you relate the knowledge. Like for example, I'll say that sun rises in the east in the Monday, sun rises in the east in the Tuesday, sun rises in the east in the Thursday, Wednesday, Friday. This is knowledge. What is wisdom? Wisdom is sun rises in the east every day. Only when you analyze all the knowledge that is there in front of you and you find the wisdom. Philosophy is the love for wisdom. It is not love for knowledge. So, if you will ask me can I encapsulate philosophy in one word, I will say the word why. Let me take the example of Russia-Ukraine war. And I'll tell you where the GS answer will stop and where philosophy will go. And it is very interesting. I'll ask you to listen very cautiously. Okay. Like for example, I will ask you, why did the Russia-Ukraine war happen? Okay, they are not my opinion, as many say. Someone says Russia's greed was there. Someone says this thing is there. So you can say that Russia's desire for this thing, strategic autonomy, this strategic thing, the greed for this area, that area, and all those things. Now I will ask you, why did this greed happen? This is GS answers we are discussing. Okay, why did this greed happen? You will say no, the desire for strategic this thing. And why did this strategic interest happen? You will again come, no, the desire is there. You will go round and round and round and round and round and round and there. But here comes the role of philosophy. It will save you. I'll ask, why desire happened? You ask the question why. This why will take that yes, there might be something. Sankhya says there are three gunas. If the Rajasic guna dominates, I will be feeling more greedy. Philosophy offered you an answer. Why the greed happened? Number two, sir, in Jainism it says that the kasayas are there. The karma pudgalas come to there. I have the vasanas. Buddhism also says that. And for that I have the desire. You got the answer. Put them in your answers in paper 2. Don't overdo it, but write them in the in the manner in which a normal person can understand. In fact, if you want to refer, you can refer my one booklet, one answer booklet. I put it in my channel. You can see in the paper 2 part. You will get. Then there is another thing. So why do I have ego? Why do I have greed? Russia is having greed. But why did Russia is having greed? Why the phenomenal ego is there? The Brahman is forgetting its real existence. It is now the phenomenal ego. In the Sankhya it is saying Sopadik Purush. Here philosophy is taking the way out. If the question that comes in your mind when you see the question what, the answer is GS. If the question you are asking why, then it is philosophical. So whenever you are writing a paper in paper 2, answer in paper 2, try to think it in the terms of why. Try to dig deeper into the wisdom part. If you are swimming in the terms of diversification, you are writing GS answers. If you will go there, you will write this thing. Yes, you can put paper 1 knowledge. That's why, in fact, there is a video you can do. And in fact, I am not telling you that don't write philosopher. Please write philosopher as and where possible. Please. Because they will give you good marks. But I am telling you, if they are not fitting and you are trying to artificially fit them. Just because I said the justice example of Amartya Sen. Here Amartya Sen is not coming in the picture because justice with religion, Amartya Sen I don't feel Amartya Sen has said anything. But you are just putting it. This is a blunder. But if you want to put it, if you are drawing an analogy and putting it, then it is fine. So this is something that you must remember. Okay. Now, while writing everything, there is a video that how do we develop philosophical attitude for writing an answer. This is the way. Okay. Now diagram and flowchart. Okay. Sir, can we put diagram and flowchart in the answers? In paper 2 there is scope. In paper 1, put it only when and where it is necessary. Like there are some standard diagrams, like the natura, naturata, naturans of Spinoza and all those things. Then all other things. See again sense of duty and all those things we will discuss later. So all these diagrams, for example, in the flowchart we have the Jainism division of Dravya. That is so these standard diagrams you can put them as it is. Like for example, someone should put the Vedantic things like the Brahman, Chit, Achit and all those things. I'll say put it only as and when it is necessary. Otherwise, don't put diagrams. Where there are standard diagrams in the book, you can put that. However, if you want to be creative, you can be creative in paper 2, the socio-political part. In fact, in philosophy of religion also you can be a bit creative. But in paper one, it's mostly you have to write as it is given in the books, because we are not philosophers. We are just replicating what the philosophers have said. So okay, that is there. Now interlinkages in paper one and paper two. I have gave you an example. In fact, I will tell you discuss around 4 to 5 interlinkages at the end of this session, and I want you to think on all those lines, and you can put them in your answers. Again, I am saying you don't put them very like very motivatedly, and don't go into the very technical terms while you are putting it in paper 2. It must be like a normal man can understand, but you are bringing out the philosophical essence. And what is philosophical essence? Philosophical essence is when you are thinking in terms of why. Why do I exist? Why does this world exist? What is the role of mind? Is there anything that will happen after life? So this is philosophy. Okay. Shloka, Sanskrit Shloka. Is it necessary to remember Sanskrit Shloka? See, if you are able to remember and write 1 or 2, it is fine. Again, the thing is that don't overdo. Anything overdoing is dangerous for you as well as for the paper. Don't overdo. 1 or 2 sloka, fine. That's Charvak, Pratyakshamevam Ekam Pramanam. That is fine. 1 or 2 things. But if you are not able to remember, don't feel demotivated. It is also perfectly fine. No issues with that. Okay. So don't feel demotivated that I don't remember Sanskrit shlokas and all those things. That is fine. No issues. If you are writing the Sanskrit terms specifically, you are writing it good, perfectly fine. Don't worry. Concepts are the king. These things are only for the garnishing. It is fine. No issues. Okay, for example, if the cake is very sweet, but it is very muddy and dark outside and not aesthetically looking good, then also it is a cake and we will eat it. But if the cake is decorated well and but it is very salty, maza nahi aata. So that's it. Okay, so no issues with that. Okay. This thing. Yes, and what about the body of the answer? So what you must focus while writing the answer, the body of the answers. I've always said that completeness of the answer should be there. In fact, it is the term that Mitra sir uses. Okay, the answers must be complete. The completeness of the answers means what? I'm telling you. Okay, and I'm giving you certain examples so that you can understand. Number 1, Sanskrit terms, no compromise. We have discussed the examples of Akash and Alok that we get. You cannot call them by their English names. So please don't compromise with the Sanskrit terms. Number 2, the criticism. Okay, the criticism must be very organic and link it with the body. For example, assume the question is Charvak. Okay. And at the end, what happens? People, after writing Charvak, we have a set format like introduce, then the body, then criticism, then conclusion. We have this set format. But what happens if you are writing a question on Charvak? Okay. And you are writing a question on Charvak and you have not mentioned in the body above that they are refuting inference. While in criticism, you are telling, refuting of inference is refuting this thing, that thing, and all those things. It is not organic. Because you have not left the seed or the hook in the body. You must write in the body that they have refuted inference just because they cannot perceive it. And then in the criticism you write. And so are you able to understand? The criticism must be very organic. It should not be like you are placing it here and there. There must be hooks in the body, which you will be logically taking to write the conclusion. It must look like a very scholarly, intelligent work. It must be like the examiner is reading from the front to end in a sort. For example, the best way to judge whether your answer is good or not is that if you start reading the answer and you are not stopping till you come to the conclusion, your answer is good. Given you have written all the terms and all those things. Because at the end, the examiner will just turn the page and see, okay, terms is written and I felt very good while reading the answers, give him marks. But in one place, if he is stuck, Arey, ye kya likh diya? Arey, what this guy has written? Even though it is very relevant, you will lose marks. Because here the break is flowing. The coherence is breaking apart. Just because the same way. In fact, I am sitting over here. The current is there. The electricity is there. But if it goes for one moment itself. For example, I have gone to one of my friend's house and I am enjoying a lot over there. And for one moment, the electricity has gone. And it came just the next moment. But I will remember that incident. That, electricity had gone. That is very important. Don't do that. Please write organic answers. That is very, 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 very important. Okay. Now the third thing is significance or impact. Okay. Yes. We will discuss all the interlinkages. Just wait, bear with me because we will deal with all the questions. And I have some 4 to 5 this thing interlinkages. I have thought it out so that I will be telling you so that you can think on all those lines for other things. Okay. Like the significance or impact. So this is something very important. Like the last year, just a minute. Okay. Just a minute. Like for the last year 2021, they asked a simple question. What is Pudgal Nairatma and Dharma Nairatma? Most of us did not know. In fact, I don't remember what I had written. I didn't do back then. But as I have researched it now and I know, I'll tell you that Pudgal Neratme, it is a term in Buddhism. Okay. Pudgal Neratme says that there are no eternal living beings, eternal souls. And Dharma Neratme says that there are no eternal material objects. It is in the simple words. So this is something that you can write this and conclude. But you will not get one extra that mark. When you will get that one extra mark, if you will analyze these things, I'll tell you how. What does Buddhism says? Chatvari Ari Satyani, four noble truths. The first is the world is full of desire, full of sufferings. Number two, there is a cause of suffering. And what is that cause of suffering? It is desire. Buddha said that desire is the root cause of suffering. Now, for example, if say that if I am a person and I am not eternal, and if assume that I am aspiring you, I am aspiring this mobile phone, and I assume that, and I know that this mobile is also not eternal, then will I have a desire for this mobile? No. If I would have been eternal and I would have desired for this mobile, and if the mobile would have been eternal, then I might have again desired for it. But if I know that I am not eternal and this guy is also not eternal, why I will desire for that? So here Buddha, in fact Buddhism, Hina and Mahan difference is that they are giving you this concept, Dharma Neratme and Pudgal Neratme, to say that see, both the things are not eternal. So why are you having desire for that? And when you are not having desire for that, you don't have suffering. So this is the significance part of it. They have forwarded these concepts to you so that they are making you understand that, my dear, don't desire. If I will tell you that don't desire, you will say, why I will not desire? If I am giving these concepts, see, Pudgal Neratme is there, Dharma is also Neratme. Kya kar rahe ho bhai? Are you able to get? This is the analysis part. It is simply asked the difference between Pudgal and Dharma. But if you are able to write this thing at the end, one paragraph, good marks is given to you. No doubt with it. Because not many would write. And the examiner will be surely happy that this guy is philosophical. Because he is thinking in the terms of why. This is the power of why. Okay. This is something that is there. Now, another thing for the completeness of the answer. Okay. We will discuss all the questions after that. Okay. Regarding the completeness of the answer, interlinkages. Again, interlinkages is the interpaper and intrapaper. What is interpaper? Paper 1 in paper 2, paper 2 in paper 1. We have discussed that. And we will discuss that. But what is intrapaper discussion? Intrapaper is bringing Western into Indian and Indian into Western. What is that? Like, for example, this thing, what do you say? To be is to be idea of good. Idea of good of Plato with Brahman of Shankar. The different forms of reality, Vyavaharik, Paramarthik and Pratibhasik, along with those of the theory of divided lines. So these things are there. They are the standard things. You have to write them. If you are losing them out, you will not get marks. And paper 2 and paper 1. That is fine. Okay. So how do you get good marks in paper 2? This is another question that they have. So the number one point is write the answers with very open mind, organic mind. So the problem is that when you have read a term like liberty, the topic of liberty, theory of liberty for 10 times, no matter what question is given on liberty, like how liberty is related to equality and all those things, you will just vomit out what you have learnt about liberty. This is the issue with paper 2. Don't be rigid or mechanical. Try to be as open and dynamic. Read the question twice and answer it and just fulfill the demand of the question. That is very important. Please be open. Please be multidimensional. What is multidimensional? For example, this is something that I interpret in terms of hardware and software. Okay. Like, for example, if the question is given on women empowerment, don't just say that we will give him economical, political, social, all those empowerment. But will all those be empowerments possible if the woman itself is not psychologically empowered? So here you get two terms. One is empowerment in terms of matter, another is empowerment in terms of mental. No matter how many hospitals you make, no matter how many police stations you make to allow women to complain if their modesty is travested, but if the woman is not having courage inside to go to police station and complain, nothing will happen. So the woman must be psychologically empowered, mentally empowered. This is something that you must write. This is multidimensional. This is interpreted in terms of hardware and software. Like, for example, another, you can use it in GS as well. Like, for example, say how do you improve the determinants of health in GS? Everyone will write, make hospitals, make hospitals, introduce these facilities, ECMO facility, X-ray, all those things, and you write. But what about doctors? They are the software. The hardware is the infrastructure. If the doctors are not there, how about the doctors? How about their qualification? How about their skills? What are you doing about it? So this is something that is also important. So please interpret in terms of matter as well as material as well as mental terms. This is writing multidimensional answers. Okay, and I have said no compulsion to put anything until unless they are coming it. What do you say? They are coming it very logically. If they are not coming it very logically, I will say at least don't put. This is my opinion. I don't know. You can take opinion from other toppers and all those things, but this is what I feel. Because if I have said the analogy, not philosophical approach is important. Paper one interlinkage is important, and completeness is important. Okay. Memory recollection, we have these things. Point paragraph, we have discussed. Multidimensional, we have discussed. Use of terms already that is given. See again, UPSC is helping you in some terms. Okay, there are some new terms that will give you in each paper, each year paper. Be very much smart to use them in your answers in a later paper. For example, this term like kritnas and akrita bhepagam. This is with respect to Shrenikvada Buddhism. No one knew when the terms came in the exam. But these terms, now you are aware that whenever a question comes in Shrenikvad, please use them here. The dharma and Pudgal Nairatma that we discussed. So while if a question will come at later stage about Nairatmavad, please use Pudgal and Dharma Nairatmavad. Because we have learnt it now. The Jiva and Jiva Sakshi, that came 2020 paper, according to Advait Vedanta. Here also you can write, for every Advait question, in fact Vedanta, you can write. And in fact I have discussed the Jiva and Jiva Sakshi in very detail in the 2020 mains discussion paper. Please do go and watch that, especially that part, and you can use them in various answers as such, because it is very important. And in fact, this is the term. If the question is given Jiva and Jiva Sakshi as per Advait Vedanta, so I am telling you how do you think about it. So what it must be there. So here there are two terms are given, and whole of the Advait Vedanta is also about two terms. What? Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Jiva is not different from the Brahman. Brahma vida Brahmaiva Bhavati. To know Brahman is to be Brahman. To who will know? The Jiva will know. What is Brahman? It will become ultimate. I am Atma Brahman. I am Brahman. I am Brahman. Whole of the Advait philosophy is about two things. And at the end, it merges the two into one. So Jiva and Jiva Sakshi now you can make it up. What is Jiva and what is Jiva Sakshi? What is Jiva Sakshi? Jiva Sakshi is witness. I will tell you the short in the story. It says that two birds are sitting on the tree, and one bird is eating good fruits. When it is eating good fruits, it is becoming very heavy. When it is getting bad fruits, it is getting very distressed. And there is another bird which is exactly like this bird, but it is sitting there and it is witnessing this bird. It is seeing this bird. It is self-absorbed in its own majestic glory. It is not getting happy and sad with each fruit, but this bird is getting happy and sad. Why? Because it is Jiva. It is enjoying the karma phalas. For the good fruits, he is becoming happy. For the pleasures, he is becoming happy. For the pains, he is getting sad. And you can check that out in that video. Okay, CSM Mains 2020 discussion video. I have discussed this in detail. So in this way, you can think about, if you get this term once, you can think about that. So now that we have discussed almost everything that I wanted to say, now we will discuss how do we write, how do we interlink paper 1 and paper 2. I have some 4 to 5 examples. You can think in all those lines. Okay, number 1. Let us take the example of capital punishment. Capital punishment is there in the SOPO, socio-political philosophy. How do we link with paper 1? I will say just one thing. All the standard arguments that are there in OP GABA and all those things, please remember them. I just want you to add one paragraph before the conclusion, and it will give you a chance. You must have known in all the serials that you have seen, the Ravan will do tapasya to Mahadev and will ask, Mahadev, please give me Amarvar. Please grant me immortality. Mahadev will say, no, I can't grant you immortality. Ask me anything else. Do you know why don't they grant immortality? What we think that, okay, if the immortality is granted, then the evil will always remain. No, that is not the reason. There is an Upanishadic, Vedantic interpretation to that. What? Who are you? Who is Ravan? Is it the body or the soul? The body will decay and all those things. But the soul is there. Like for example, I say, the water is there. H2 is there. If you separate it, H plus and OH minus ions, you don't call H plus as water or OH minus as water. You say it is hydrogen ion, it is hydroxyl ion. But for me, if I am there, if this hand is chopped off, I will still remain Durga. A part of me is gone. You may remove all the parts of me, but I will still remain Durga. Why? Because I am that eternal soul. And if I am that soul, it is Shaswat. It is Amar. How can you grant immortality to someone who is already immortal? And this body, the quality of the body, that it will decay. So that is the reason why immortality was not granted in all those things, in all those bad days. You must know this concept. So while writing the answer on capital punishment, just write one sentence at the end. But by capital punishment, to whom are we giving this punishment? The eternal soul stays and the body is to decay. It will decay. So you can put this essence just before the conclusion. It is very important. This is what interlinking paper 1 and paper 2. Okay. Number 2. Immortality of soul is there. Okay. Immortality of soul is there. Great. Immortality of soul is there. So how do you write answers on that? How do you link paper 1 and paper 2? So when the immortality of soul is there, please use references of Bhagavad Gita as such, because Bhagavad Gita says, Nainam chindanti sastrani, nainam dahati pavakah, nachainam kledayanti apunas sosyati martha. That means the water cannot wet it, the sastra cannot cut it, and all those things. If you don't remember this shloka, perfectly fine, just write. Bhagavad Gita also says, decides, Bhagavad Gita also announces, also says that the soul is immortal. But I want you to think, no, I am not ignoring any comment. I will just go to that at the end of that. Okay. But I want you to think on another aspect. Let me take, if I'll ask you what is the significance of immortality of soul, you will say, sir, the transmigration of soul is there, the punarjanma is there, the adrashti is there, everything is based on the immortality of soul. Because, see, for example, I have done all the sins in this life, but I die very peacefully. So who will guarantee that I will get all the fruits for all the evil deeds? That's why the concept of rebirth is brought. That, okay, if I'm not getting the fruits in this life, I'll get it in the next life. So that you have to ensure immortality of soul. Because, again, the terms of kritnasa and akrita bhyapakam. I'm not explaining it. I want you to learn about it. Okay. But I will tell you another thing that you will not find mostly in the book. The whole concept of tantricism. Tantricism says the bhoot and prets are there. Do you think the tantricism school would have existed in the first place if the soul would not have been immortal? For example, if with the death of this body, I would have died, there would have been no soul, immortal or something. Do you think the ghost, bhoot, pret, all those things would be there? No. Do you think the tantricism school would have there in the first place? No. This is the significance. Whole of the tantricism school is there due to this thing. If possible, just write one liner. That's fine. They will understand. The examiner will appreciate you that you have thought a lot. Then the next thing comes, that problem of evil. In the problem of evil, the Epicurean question. If God is great, if God is omnipotent, then why is not doing all these things? If God is omnipotent, God is good, and God is evil exists. These three are the Epicurean triangle. What they say? They say what is a problem of evil in Western philosophy is that evil here is not Satan or demon or all those things. Evil here is the pain, suffering that we face in this life. The question that comes is, if the God is omnipotent, he can do everything. And if the God is good, then why do the evil exist? If the God is good and the evil exists, then the God is not omnipotent. If the evil exists and the God is omnipotent, then the God is not good, because he could have solved this problem, but he is not solving. This is the Epicurean triangle, Epicurean question. So here comes the problem. How can you link it with paper 1? Go to Sankhya. Adi Devik, Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik pains. Aren't they suffering and the pains? Aren't they giving reference to the pains? That is there. You have to write it if possible. I am telling you again, I am just trying to open up your mind. If they are coming organically, put. If they are not coming organically, don't put. I am just opening up your mind. Try to think, try to link papers. Okay. Now equality is there. If the question comes on equality, you can always write about Advaita Vedanta. Why? Because Advaita Vedanta says everyone is Brahman. How am I lesser than you that you will treat me unequal? That is also there. Yes, problem can lead to karma and vrittis. That's what I am saying. The prarabdha karma, adrasht, Sankhya has given that. That is the thing. Then the fifth is women. If a question comes on women, you can always link it to Sankhya. Why? Because women is Prakriti. Sankhya says Prakriti is feminine, darshanartham. But here they have made Prakriti the eternal substance. How can you treat that eternal essence in this manner? You can check my answer copy in the file section. Okay, you will get to know about that. Then when it comes about ego, pride, greed, you can always tell Sankhya that Prakriti is trigunatmak. If there is imbalance in all the three gunas, then different vikars come, ego will come, greed will come, all those things. You can, in fact, you can use them in ethics as well. For example, if you are writing about greed, and if there is a case on corruption and someone is asking how do you solve it, you can always write that by enhancing the practice of meditation in which the trigunas will come to balance. Many have written in ethics. In fact, I do also write. It is fine. Then when reason, revelation and faith we have a topic, here you can use the aparaksha anubhuti, brahmagyan, kaivalya, all those things you can relate, that is very there. Religious pluralism, ekam sat bahudha vadanti vipraha, syadvad, you can use them. Then religion without God, in Hinduism we have it as a kaleidoscope of religion like Sankhya and all those things, atheism, Nirishwar and all those things. So these are all the things that you can use. I just wanted to open up your mind towards them. So in fact, I feel I have discussed almost everything that I wanted to discuss. If there are any questions on your part, you can ask them. I'll go through the comments and will say whatever that I can say. Okay. Okay, just a minute. Let us go to the question section and I will address everything that is there. Okay, waiting. Okay, wonderful. I want to see shout out. Okay. Yes, can we quote contemporary Swamis? Benji, you have asked. Yes, you can quote them contemporary Swamis. In fact, we have a lot of like Sadhguruji and Ravi Shankarji. You can quote them, but please try to quote only the non-controversial Swamijis and not the controversial ones. You can quote the Padma Vibhushan, Padma Sri Swamijis and only quote their non-controversial statements. For example, I got a very beautiful quote from Sri Ravi Shankar, and it is something that you can quote in your answer. That what they have said, religion and spiritualism. He said, religion is like the outer cover of the banana and spiritualism is the inner fruit of the banana. But what this man has done, they have thrown the spiritualism out and they have stick to the cover. They have thrown the fruit of the banana out, they have thrown the spiritualism out, and they are now holding only the banana's outer cover, and that is the religion. You can quote them in case of religious extremism. You can get the direct lines that he has said, if you can get it. In fact, Dalai Lama you can quote. They are very good. Okay. Yes, I always wanted. See, regarding, I have no opinion on what manipulation and all those things. It is your personal choice. Please try to do whatever is possible. In fact, many times the mentors who are guiding you, they might say very good things also. That is fine. If you are believing someone and you have done that, stick to your decision, because no decision is ever right. You have to make the decision right. But if you are feeling that you are doing, if you are against your conscience, then you can think about it. But I have no comment on that because they are also very good people. Brainstorming, after how many days we have discussed what is apostle. Apostle are the persons who are like the very good, very great religious figures, like the apostle. They are mostly used in the Christianity terms. Okay. Brainstorming. Okay. Many times the question, many times we know the concept, but Simranji, she's asking many times we know the concept, but the question in Western philosophy are too different to write. See, in fact, if you'll go to the UPSC exam hall, you will attend more questions of Western philosophy rather than Indian, because they will be asking one or two terms in Indian philosophy which you will not be aware of. So Western, I say you do the brainstorming, you write all the points about them, you try to internalize them, you will not feel difficult. That I can assure. You have a lot of time now, 30 to 40 days. Please take some 5-10 philosophers each day, spend around 1 to 2 hours, you are done with it. Too good approach. Okay, have you seen Swami Sarvapriyanand? Yes, I have seen. I always watch Swami. But it takes a lot of time to practice words. Oh, phonetics we have developed, we have discussed. What is friar? I don't know. How can the person like 150 marks in the interview? See, again, this is something that I too don't understand, because as per the mocks, everyone said it is, oh, beautiful, you are such a beautiful person. And in fact, just 1 month after that, with pre and all those things, in the forest interview, I got 180. But in the philosophy, it is 146. I don't know what happened. So life works in mysterious way. Maybe I'm destined to be here. That's fine. It is fine, yeah. What happens? At the end, I'm working for the nation. Okay, that's fine. No issue. You got new specs. Is it due to Drishti IS interview? Might be. We are restricting. You are very interesting, sir. In which? In glories of God and where you are. Okay. UPSC इंटरव्यू में पूछे जाने वाला ऐसा सवाल जिसका उत्तर बहुत कम. Yeah, these things you can check. Sir, the question is, if not Amartya Sen, then what? We have discussed that. Okay. Sir, generally people say socio-political is more scoring than philosophy of religion. And similarly, Western is more scoring than. Yes, they are open to interpretations, but what? Yes, you have asked a good question. Many say that what should we answer from? Should we answer more questions from section A or section B? My approach is not like that. I answer all the questions that I know very well. It is fine, yeah. Whatever you answer, that is fine. I don't know. There might be other toppers who can say other things, but I feel so. I feel so. Nothing like that. And see, the socio-political becomes more scoring when you write very organic and open answers. If you don't write organic and open answers, the marks will get reduced. In fact, I will say you a very just a minute. I will say you very beautiful statistics that, for example, in the first attempt, everyone will have low marks in paper 1, high marks in paper 2. But in the next attempt, from next attempt onwards, the marks in paper 1 will increase and paper 2 will decrease. Why? Because in the first attempt, you have not read paper 2 very well. So in that context, whenever I ask you corruption, you try to relate examples from here and there and all those things. You put current examples and the answer becomes very beautiful and very organic and very open. But in paper 1, it is purely ratifying thing, purely memory thing. So you have not prepared well, you will not get good mark. In the next attempt, you have read paper 1 well and you have read paper 2 also well. But again, what happens if you are very rigid, very mechanistic? The moment you see the terms, because in the examination hall, you have very less time. The moment you see the terms, you write all those answers which you have ratified and the marks are reduced. So that is there. So be careful. So generally scoring we have discussed. It is advisable. Say I have said that regarding this advice, I say I follow. I write only those questions that I know very well. That's fine. Please write. Make your answers very organic. You will get good marks. So when we can fit, yes. What time you will answer? Okay. False sense of duty. Those things, yes, the false sense of duty. In fact, I will say don't put any controversial statement in your answers. You never know what will happen. So don't put any controversial statements. Don't try to name a person and blame them. In fact, if they are contemporary as such, and if their convict has not been proved yet, because you can always quote Hitler and all those things, that is fine, but don't do this. Is essay really philosophical? Yes, it is mostly philosophical. Okay. Please explain more about interlink. See, interlinkages I have discussed now. Okay. Not in every question. Wherever you are logically getting it, please put. Not logically getting it, don't put. Okay. That's fine. And please put current examples in paper 2. That will help you get good marks. Okay. Yes. Okay, sir. Thank you. Is it enough to read Mitra sir class notes for paper 2 or is? See, that's what. Badke Bhaiya ji, you can read them. For me, it was Ambarish Vemuri sir and Ankita Jain ma'am's books. Notebook. That was fine. Whatever source you are following, that is fine. But the thing is that you have to think it more openly. You have to put current examples. You have to do interlinkages. You will write multidimensional answers. You will get good marks. Will be answer. Good night. हिंदी में लिखना समझौता तो नहीं होगा. अरे विकास, if you have thought of writing, then go with it. Don't doubt. If you will doubt your own weapons before the exam, it is not a good thing. And in fact, I am not the right person to say that also, because I am a newbie in this philosophy field. I am just telling you what has worked for me. I don't know that answer, okay? But I don't feel. You don't doubt yourself. You feel very confident with that, okay? Organically, yes, organic. दर्शन हिंदी में लिखना मार्क्स के साथ समझौता नहीं सर. I feel there are many people. In fact, I interacted with one of the person in philosophy who has got good marks in UPPCS. I feel in the mains, and he would be my senior as well also. So I feel you can get good marks. No issues with that. You can check these things. Marks and all those things. How can we know about the other souls and such? I didn't get the question. I am a Vedantin too. Okay, fine. How can we know that the others exist? Can we know it all? See this thing. How can you know others exist? This is the thing that has been mired with this thing. That the subjective idealism came, the idealism came, the realism came. So this is not a very easy question to answer. Okay. I sleep at 11 o'clock every day, but today waiting. Okay. I have addressed your question. So, again, Vikasji, the same thing. Which part of paper? I said I attempt all those questions. See, when I enter the exam hall, I have a thought that I will write more about Indian, because I like shlokas a lot. Like the Jivan J. say, Dwa Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya, this thing. Like, for example, if you will ask me about Advaita Vedanta, I can tell you that Advaita Vedanta, that is Pratha Smaran Sutra. And in fact, in Madhvajar, you can say that Yasmat Sarvamidam Prapancha Rachitam Maya Jagat Jayate. So all things are there. But I used to write. I love a lot of Sanskrit. But what happens in the exam hall? There are new Sanskrit terms, and I don't write all those things. I end up writing more Western. So I write only those things that I know good. UPPCS means nahi sir, nahi. DP if you have Telegram, if not, make it. I have a Telegram channel. The links is there. You can directly search Durga Prasad Adhikary. You will get the Telegram channel. That is fine. Is it necessary to make one page note for each topic? See, again, it depends on your strategy. If you are feeling good with one page note, please make. If not, then also it is fine. And then what I'm telling you, if you are doing brainstorming, now they are ultimately becoming your one page note only. If you realize that, because after 2 to 3 iterations, what you will do brainstorming, they are your one page note. Okay, that's fine. Use different color pens and all, whatever you find. But for me, mostly for my GS, I have this big bulk, because I take the printout of copper topics and I just underline them and I take them to the main center as well. So that is for me. Yeah, out of context, please take session on prelims. Yes, Ajay ji, definitely, I'll take prelims, but after the mains. Okay, because I am giving the mains itself and I am trying to reach out to all the aspirants who are giving mains this time. After the mains, I will definitely do all these things. Sources. My sources for Western philosophy and paper 2 are Ankita Jain's mem, Ambarish memory search notes, Ankita Jain ma'am's notebook, Ambarish memory search notebook, and also selective notes from Himanshu Gupta search. That's fine. And if you get some here and there content from the internet, that is also fine. Will this be a good way? See, again, Vikas ji, for Hindi, if I'm not wrong, for UPPCS, the questions are very direct. In fact, I will say you can interact with any topper of philosophy in UPPCS, but definitely using these terms, writing these terms more, using these concepts will fetch you good marks, because they will make your answers very unique. Okay, but I'll say don't go to very extreme. Write very normal answers that in the state PCS they like. In fact, I will ask you to connect with any UPPCS topper as such. Regarding if for philosophical interlinkages, philosophical understanding, you can definitely go there. Yes. CSAT compression, I understand, Ajay. Will this be a good way to write answers? Okay. I am relying on CD Sharma for paper 1 Indian and Method, sir. Yes. It is fine if you feel very that you are relying on CD Sharma G for paper 1 Indian and Mitra sir for Western. If you want to diversify you can check some toppers copies. In fact, Ankita Jain ma'am and Ambarish members notes are very compact, and I feel you will love them. You can look into them. Okay, I think you would get, because the pendulum. Nothing like that. So now 40 days are left. How many? See, again, it's all on your strategy. But I feel during the last 15 to 20 days, focus solely on GS. You can go through this minor booklets and terms of philosophy every day. In fact, maybe 5 to 7 days before exam also. But gradually shift your attention more towards GS. Because you will get 5 days even after GS as well. But it's on your status, because you must know what is your confidence level for GS as well. And one thing I would say, that no matter how much you study, those studies will never get over. So try to be confident on whatever you have read, and you will do wonders. If you can't know that other people exist, then how can talking about equality and all? See, again, this thing, we can't know whether other exist or not. But here you have to be realist and assume that they are existing. Okay, Aman, appearance in Brahman. I think whether we came to know that others exist or not, we should give them the highest knowledge of Vedanta. So if they exist, it is beyond all those things. Okay, appearance is the only word. Thank you for taking your valuable time for this. Thank you for taking the session. Please be connected when I am writing the mains. Okay, definitely. In fact, I have read all the comments. In fact, I feel that we have addressed almost all the issues. I feel also guide regarding ethics. Yes, ethics we will do. For case studies we will do. Please give me 2 to 3 days time. We will do. Because the thing is that I can do it right now also. But the thing is that I will miss out something. So I will just compile something and I will tell you. Okay. Yes. Simranji, definitely I will call you. In fact, everyone who has mailed me, for all the ones whom I have already called, this lecture, this thing, you might note down all the extra information that is there. For everyone I am yet to call, please watch this video properly, and if you have any other queries apart from that, you can always tell me, and I assure you I will call each and everyone over there. Even if you have no doubt, I will call you and we will talk for at least 5 minutes, but I will call you all. Please be sure. What has Shankaracharya said about the existence of others? If not his philosophy. See, again, this thing, selfish, this term comes when are you selfish of someone else? Only when there is duality. My this hand is not selfish of this hand. Why? Because they belong to one entity. If I am the Brahman, you are the Brahman, I am Atma Brahman, Prajnanam Brahman, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, then where is this selfishness? Okay, nothing. Okay, I graduated in 2018, I gave one attempt, I depressed due to 26 age, and after. See, Harvinder ji, these things are very common. We feel depressed a lot of time. But I'll say, please get up and fight this battle, because I say, you are the Amritasya Putra. Shvetasvatar Upanishad says, you are the child of immortality. You cannot lose this battle. It is the same entity that is there within us all. So don't lose hope. Please try. There are a lot of people who have tried hard and they've succeeded. We have n number of examples, Abraham Lincoln and all those things. Please take example from them and try till your last, try till you achieve it. Try till you achieve it. That's the only way out. Okay. I graduated. Thank you, sir. Waiting for your call. Thank you very much. Badke bhaiya. Yes. What is your name as such? Badke bhaiya. You can just write your first name. Okay. How? What how? Okay. You have said in the video, trees bear fruits. How can we help others if... Amanji, don't get into all those things. If you will say that no one exists now, then why are you living here? On whom are you living? On whom are you are sleeping on the bed? On whom are you sleeping? See, there is a thing. One thing is that while writing paper, you try to be philosophical lessons, but if you bring all those things, now you cannot live the life as such. So maintain the gap. If you want to become sannyasi and all at a later stage, that is a different thing. But till you are living in this sansar, don't think as such. Okay, it is not good as such. Okay. Okay. Yes. Nitinji, definitely. We'll call. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I feel almost everything has been covered. If there are any more queries, you can ask, or we will end the session at almost 1.5 hours. Okay. So I feel we have addressed everything. The one thing I will say, इस बार हमने ठाना है फिलोसफी में कुछ कर दिखाना है. फिलोसफी में मस्त मार्क्स लाइए. That's all. So my main question, that we can know that other people are having sense experience. Yes, this thing, yeah, sense experience is there. See, there are different philosophies are telling. See, Shankaracharya is saying that this world is Brahman. But can you feel it? Can you perceive it? No. That's why there is no one answer for these things. Please try to understand. That's why the philosophy is open field. There is no answer. There is no one answer that you can see and confirm. There is no one answer. I will say God exists, you will say God doesn't exist. I cannot prove God, you cannot disprove God. Whatever you want to follow. That's fine. That's all. Someone will say sense experience is supreme. Fine. You follow that. Someone will say no, reason, rationalism is supreme. I will follow that. That's fine. That's why it is said pluralism, multiculturalism, syadvad. Okay. The one thing is that don't commit ekantavad. That is very important. That don't go into all this religious extremism, fundamentalism. Everything is happening just because of ekantvad. Everyone thinks that my theory is only correct. Yours is not. Don't fall into all these traps. This is your time to study. Please study well. For all these things, time will come. Don't get into all these details. Okay now? Yes. Okay. Good night. Yes. Good night. Please take care. Stay happy. Stay safe. इस बार हमने ठाना है फिलोसफी में कुछ कर दिखाना है. Take care. Namaste. Hope this session helped you. Okay. How can I contact you? Yes, you can mail me. In fact, if it is very relevant one or this thing, I'll definitely do the thing. But if it can be delayed a bit, I will just give you call and all after the mains. Because this time even I am giving the mains. So there is a positive time with me because of all the things that I am doing, and I am trying to connect with everyone of Philosophy Optional who is giving mains so that I can just boost their confidence and morale. So every time I talk to one person, it goes more than 1 hour. So every day I spend around 3 to 4 hours many a times talking to the people. So that's why if it is very important, I will just respond as it is. But if not, I will respond later. Please don't feel bad. I am really sorry. Pardon me. But I am a mortal at the end. Okay. Yeah. Yes. For all the queries, you can connect me over my email ID, which is there in my Telegram channel. Aham Brahmasmi @ this thing. Okay. I am from Odisha. I am living in Karolbagh. Okay. You please mail me ahambrahmasmi @ gmail.com. ahambrahmasmi205 @ gmail.com. It is there in my Telegram channel. Okay. Yes. Okay. Fine. Take care. गुड नाइट, शुभरात्रि. इस बार हमने ठाना है फिलोसफी में कुछ कर दिखाना है. वंदे मातरम. जय हिंद. भारत माता की जय. बाय बाय. टेक केयर. नमस्ते. टेक केयर. एंड वन थिंग, don't doubt yourself. You are capable of doing everything and anything. Don't doubt yourself. That's it. Take care. Bye bye. Bye. Thank you. Jai Hind. Jai Hind. Jai Hind. Bye bye.